When I was a child, I saw a craft flying in the sky, made up of 7 golden stars. I was about 9 years old at the time, and it was flying off the coast of England out to sea. My whole life I thought that was a UFO encounter. Now in the recent years I've made no secret. I had a crisis of authenticity earlier this year, and I said to God, from now on I'll be authentic about everything I see. And that night I had a conversation in meditation where I left my body and arose inside another dimension in the middle of what I perceived to be an alien species, a higher dimensional species. And I conversated with them, and I recognized them as those who misuse thunder, those who misuse humanity, those who use us to fulfill their needs. And so I did a whole video on that, and you can watch that. But I've known then there are beings. But I sat on the fence with interdimensional, alien, spiritual. You're using language to point at something undefinable in a sense. It's very difficult. But I also said recently the Mayan culture, who I have a great fascination with because of their calendars and their calendar's relationship to the number 1111. Because 1111 is an extremely common occurrence in my life. In fact, by following 1111 blindly, and it was blind, it arose in my life and I followed this number. And it led me synchronistically to East Africa. Having never left Europe, many know the story, I wound up in East Africa, and look where we are today. I ended up building a village for these special needs children. We have a family of over 200 beautiful children who needed help. We've got hundreds of rescue dogs. We've just built another dog. It's amazing what's happening out there. It's just magic. It's just magic that I followed this number that kept synchronistically arising in consciousness, and I wound up in the middle of this outpouring of love inside humanity. Just phenomenal, because I followed 1111. Now the Mayan calendar is said to end on 1111, and so this culture was always fascinating. But then if you look at their creation story, the Popol Vuh, you will see in there they state that the current human form we are was created by an alien species. Well, this is phenomenal. This is absolutely mind-blowing that this is what's going on. And so this all synchronized in my life, and now on to this. Last night, right here where I'm sitting, I lay with my wife, Fritzi. I had just been offered to travel to see and get help with my healing. And we were in extremely high-hearted vibration. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. We were looking at the stars. And one of the healers involved in this, we watched at that time one of his pieces, and we had a phone laid on the cushion next to us. And as we lay there, appearing, we are on the outskirts of Hamburg city in Germany, and we're in a very natural part of the city. If you go just a little way that way, it's all just forest and fields, and last night there were deer outside our garden and things. It's a very natural part of the world. There's a lot of nature here. We have a very big garden, we're blessed with that. I watched as a craft just appeared over our garden slowly. And this craft was huge. It was phenomenal in size, and it was triangular. And on each corner of the triangle was this warm yellow-orange glow. There were no forward-facing lights. They were only facing down from the bottom of this craft, this UFO. And it flew over, and I saw it first at the beginning of the tree above us. We were laying on the edge of being under a magnolia tree here. And I pointed with my hand without any words, and Fritzi jumped up and shouted, "What the F?" like this. She was so shocked by what she saw, and she never swears. But Fritzi does not swear, she's very delicate. So it was totally so startling. And we watched as it passed over and it was gone. Now I am friends with some people in the public eye. A friend of mine who has helped the charity, who plays professional football in Europe, he and his wife publicly stated that they'd had a cube come down to them when they were sitting alone at night and then take off. The man known in the DJ world as Nightmares on Wax, or George Evelyn, who helped climb Kilimanjaro to set the world record for the music world's highest DJ set with us, to build the children's home that we call Sunshine House for disabled kids. He also publicly had an encounter off the coast of Ibiza where he had these crafts coming. And so I have known that these crafts were so, but yesterday we saw it. And it was not of this world. Yesterday was today when it happened, last night. I've slept since, that's why I keep saying yesterday. It was today at 1 in the morning. Today is the 25th of July, which is the Mayan day called the Day Out of Time. It's funny, there's a thunderstorm starting as I speak on this topic. The Day Out of Time is said to be a time where the energies are so potent that the veil between the dimensions is thin, and therefore there's a great deal more activity between the spirit world, the higher dimensions, and this dimension. I am in a prolonged fast right now, and I have spoken with beings not of this world. I have been helped by angelic beings not of this world. I have had God, Him, Herself, Mother, Father, Creator, the source of all, guide my life with synchronicity to alleviate suffering. The generous heart of God gave way for all things in infinite potential and consciousness, so life had meaning. But the mind of God does not agree with every expression of free will that we have manifest in everything that comes forth. And so that mind of God, in its care and compassion, has guided myself and many others to try and alleviate the suffering here in this dimension. And what this dimension is, I don't know. Is this dimension created by some other being that's of great power, like the Nag Hammadi said? A holographic universe that we have been energetically dragged into as a soul? Who knows? Who knows? We have all these different concepts and terms we're pointing at. There's clearly some problem here with a lot of suffering. And there's clearly an ability to end that suffering by having an open heart and moving from that vibration of creation, not the contraction of fight, flight, fear. And so, I don't know what else I can say on this. I followed 11/11, it changed my life. The Mayan calendar ends at 11/11. I have met and communed and conversated in another dimension with what I perceive to be another species that I've seen. I've seen two different species. One was very loving, and one said they didn't have anything vendetta against us. However, like a human driving their car and splatting bugs on the front, they say they're just going somewhere and we're like that. It wasn't personal to them. I have seen that, and I have recently said that the Mayan culture, where 11/11 is the end point of their calendars, that culture's creation story of the Popol Vuh states that an alien species created this human form. They created us. Some negatively interfered to make us slave, some positively to progress us, to make us suffer less, to make us less primitive. Today, the 25th of July, is that day. The Mayan day out of time. On that day, the Mayan day out of time, my wife and I saw inexplicably and undoubtedly what we perceive to be a craft not of this world. And the resonance of the energy felt around the whole experience, the synchronicity of it, the fast that I was in, the synchronicity of that evening being offered by someone with a great heart to fly me to meet these master healers in another part of the world, that I am engaging in this right now, to have all of that and then this craft come over your home. On that specific day where the Mayans say the veil is thin and the other dimensions will interact with this dimension. I don't have answers, but I do know where my life is going. And my life is going in a very great direction for me. It's a lot of love, a lot of compassion being manifested in my life, in the children's lives, in the lives of this community. And we are helped. And who knows if angels need a spacecraft? Who knows? I just know that we saw it, and it was so vast, so powerful, so out of this world that my wife, who never swears, is as gentle and tender and sweet as can be, had no option but to leap up and shout, "What the F?" The Mayan day out of time. The Mayans, who say you were created by aliens, whose calendar ends at 11/11. 11/11 that I synchronistically followed to be what I am as a human, that I have been speaking about recently. On that day out of time, a craft appears above my home and travels off. It disappears into another dimension. I can only share my encounter. And I am totally open. My heart is open. My mind is filled with what ifs. To keep my mind alive and my heart alive. Fill your mind with what ifs. You don't know, don't be arrogant, you don't know. I used to be arrogant and never knew, but I thought I did. Fill your life with what ifs. So as your heart and your mind stay alive to the truth, and so the senses of your body can attune to their true capacities. I love you all. Please comment your experiences below. I want to hear about them, just as it was with the Blue Beings video. My love to you all. Bye. I better go in. I'm getting soaked. Bye. Most of you know that thanks to the love, support and sharing of the community that has followed us here on YouTube, we have been able to build a village for special needs children in crisis out in Tanzania. Our family in Tanzania is now made up of nearly 200 children. Most of these children have disabilities, and most of these children are among the most marginalized human beings in our human story. You have seen the suffering on this channel, I won't go over it, but these children had no access to housing, medical care, some were abandoned, and they certainly didn't get quality care, some of them. It is only thanks to the love, support and the partnership of persons in this community that we have been able to make this family a reality, that we have been able to bring these children out of the dark and into the light where they belong. To all who have partnered with what we do, thank you for your love and support. We simply can't do what we do without you. If you are not involved in our family and you are interested in helping us to eradicate this problem that we face inside the human story, eradicate this problem that these children are facing and don't need to face, then we have launched a new partnership program. If you visit www.sharetanzania.com/partnership, you will see all of the details there. Ultimately, these partnerships help us to sustain our family, to provide everything we need to these children to make sure they are happy. And in return with that, we'll provide you with regular updates and a newsletter every month as well, so as you can see exactly how your act of love and sharing is impacting the world and the lives of these children in the same way that I get to see it. Okay, that was all. Thank you for the love and support, guys.